Thought I'd make a quick note here while I'm mocking it back up for the dual piston. There's a stamping right there on the bracket. The other side cuts away a whole lot more. That is not touching, but it's really, really close. So that might be a point on this casting to have to hit it with a file or whatever and just knock it down just a hair, just to make sure it doesn't, because you certainly wouldn't want it tightening up against there. And I don't know if it's drop-in quality over the years with reman parts, stuff like that, if they've always been like this or what, but you know, this pad, the two pads aren't concentric with their metal backing pad plates. Okay, let's see if I can just turn that one a little bit. Yeah, you might be able to see that. It's a lot thicker here than it is here. So what I had to do was kind of find the sweet spot, you know, pushing in there, and then measure in the middle. And I got just a little over 75 thousandths there. So that's all the way out to the edge there. The reality is I really don't want to come all the way out to the edge. I only want to come to that, you know, where the bevel is, the chamfer. So that's closer to 30, that's closer to 20 thousandths. So, you know, I could probably come out 30 or 40 thousandths, and most of the pads would still be down inside that. I don't want to go buy, you know, a dozen different sets of pads and have to check them all to see if how far away they are from their counterpart. Oh yeah, see this one here, this pad is way lower. So if I was using this pad in place of one of these, I'd have even more clearance. Whereas these are the ones that came with it, and they're way out to the edge. You know, so even here I wouldn't necessarily have room to do the grinding I did on the other one. So they're both fairly concentric, but you can see that there's a big difference, you know, where the pad sits. There's a couple other reasons for doing the prototype and not trusting it purely to CAD. Gotta love CAD, but you know, I don't have a steering arm in there, and I can look at it right now and tell that all the holes in the center there, the bolt holes, are going to have to rotate. This plate's going to have to shift around to get more clearance here. Basically, turn as we're looking at it, move the whole bracket and everything clockwise some. Okay, well, so then that might run into a bit of a challenge up here with getting this to clear. So I may have to make the bend in the ears a little more pronounced. You can tell if I rotate the bracket clockwise, I'm going to start hitting here. So, just a quick little one here. I got the pieces turned down, the standoff, so 1.5 inches should made it up to the outside there on both things here. You know, that ear will end up about there, and that one, whoop, I got them to, at least on that one, it fits pretty tight. But so anyway, that one will be about there. So I think what I'm going to do is I'll throw a couple tacks on to the plate and the standoff, and then I can put them up again and start seeing just how much room I've got to be able to move around. Okay, so there's what's going to be plug welded. You know, I've got that much sticking out. That's almost exactly 1/8 of an inch. So it's right around there. So I still have a 1/4 inch of hole to fill. And when I was thinking about it, I thought, okay, well, I could bring it up and have an 1/8 inch on the top. But then I only have the upper 1/8 inch here. So I thought, you know, if I leave it down further, then I can burn it hot enough to get almost down to the main piece here. I'd be half tempted to, you know, even shave a little more off, just so that it's there for a registration point. And then that way, I could actually get down into, you know, the rest of the body metal here, and eliminate, you know, the shear. So I'm not familiar with plug welding. Anybody out there's got any input? Awesome. So I think I'll probably try welding one like this. I may go ahead and shave one down a little bit more and see how I like it. So when all the mock-ups are done and everything like that, and it's all finalized, maybe what I'll do as the last check will be to cut it apart and maybe do some polishing and etching and see if see how the weld looks, how deep the penetration is, stuff like that. So the 900 is going to have to get shortened to match these. There's more than enough you know, there's well over 1/8 of an inch on either side of the other one because that rotor is thicker. So I need to get the centering for this. You know, as far as it being in and out, there's 1/8 of an inch here, easy. I need it to come out some. That's going to be the bigger challenge. Oh, it's not touching. So I don't have to come out near as much as I thought I did. Let's see here. Let's just loosen this up a little bit. Let's just pull it against the slop there. Alright, I easily have a 1/16 of an inch. Okay, so I might adjust that just a little bit to come out. But I do need to, I've already tacked them down. Had I thought about this arrangement before I tacked them, I wouldn't have tacked them yet. I'll cut the tacks, I'll put them back in the lathe. I'll trim them down. I first have to figure out just how far I've got to drop them. Once I took the brake pads out of the way, it was a whole lot easier to get that centered up. And it turns out that I need more like 100 thousandths drop to get this one centered. Okay, there is a little bit more wiggle room and play than I thought there was going to be, but I'll test it with the other one with 100 thou, and we'll see how that looks. Alright, so at the 100 thousandths drop, there's still plenty of space. Okay, everything looks fine. You know, as the pads wear, they're just going to simply move in closer, not further away. This is the single piston. There's actually there's clearance under the pad there from the top hat. I like where it's sitting. I cut the 100 thou off the spacers, dropped it down a bit. Found out that I had to switch to shorter bolts, but all that's looking good now. So let's let's just pop this stuff off real quick. That way you can. Yeah, I think you can see that there's lots of nice clearance there. Let's switch over. And from this point, since I know that it's going to need to be rotated, okay, and still stay concentric, I will probably go ahead and tack weld the bracket right where it's at. So that way as I rotate it, I can see what else happens and stuff like that. But I'll tack it, and then I'll be able to mount it back up the other way so I can spin this freely, just to double check that everything still clears okay. So now on this one, I want to play with the slop and keep it pushed in. Whoops. Okay, let's see what we got for space here. Oh yeah, lots. Man, you know, it makes me wonder if I had something, was looking at something wrong or whatever. Oh, it's probably the casting on the backside, because oh, duh. Of course it looks the same. I just put the same bracket back on. There we go. How about that? It was awful nice and easy to keep the bolt spacing the same. Okay, so on this one, let's keep it pushed in a bit, whatever slop is there. So I've still got a nice amount of space here. Oh yeah, this is 100 thou. So there's 100 thou there. Oh yeah, and I still got right about 100 thou here too. Yep. Okay. I like that. Let's snap the brake pads back in. This is the one that, just a reminder, there was ground for the clearance under here. Okay. And I am below the outer edge here. Not below the chamfer on this side, but that's going to vary from brake pad to brake pad, I think. So that's, you know, for what I'm trying to do here, that's going to have to be close enough. So far, everything's a win. Okay. So far, both brackets, or this one bracket, will work with both single piston and dual piston on this hub and rotor setup. And at this point, it should not need an 1/8 inch wheel spacer to fit on a behind a stock rim. So that, you know, I mean, I still have to prove that. I still got a ways to go here before I can call that, you know, 100% for sure. But it's looking good, because it should have cleared with the 1/8 inch wheel spacer, and the top hat on this rotor pushes everything in more than 1/8 of an inch. So next up, I can tack weld this bracket, and then I can see about, I may just mount the bracket on the rotary table so that I can slot each of those holes on an arc. Okay, and then I can pull this whole thing around and see exactly where it needs to be. I think I'll probably do that, just not today.